we're going to see things, hopefully before it's too late.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, I wanted to go ahead and give the host organizations a few minutes who wanted to present some legislative issues, and then we'll take closing remarks from the legislators. So those of you all that are representing organizations that have a few comments, if you could come up to the podium right now.
And while they're making comments, I want to mention, Takita is here from Representative Rader's office.
Yes.
I don't know if we missed any legislators' assistants.
And also Holly Dingers from Senator Negron's office. Is she still, I'm not sure where she is.
And there she is. She's not,
Right there.
apparently she can't stand up. And Michelle McGovern with U.S. Senator Bill Nelson's office is in the back. I just wanted to do that. Sorry. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, you want to start with Peg down this time?
Good morning. My name is Gosha Fedeli. I'm the current president of Florida South chapter of the American Society of Interior Designers. I really don't have any legislative issues or comments, but we are participating in the legislative breakfast for the first time this year, so we are very excited to be here. For those of you who do not know ASID, we are the largest and the oldest organization for professional designers. We have over 28,000 members throughout the United States and Canada, and 48 chapters, and our membership consists of interior designers, educators, students, and industry partners. We strive to advance the interior design profession through education, knowledge sharing, advocacy, community building, and outreach. ASID as national organization does have an official legislative policy. We believe that legal recognition of our profession is best achieved through legislation that provides a path for interior designers to become certified, registered or licensed, while not limiting, registering, or preventing the practice of interior design, and allowing state-qualified interior designers to perform additional services related to the practice of interior design, such as full stamping, signing, and permitting privileges. I am part of the Florida South chapter, and we are the second largest ASID chapter in the United States. We have over 1,200 members, and geographically, our chapter spans from Vero Beach down to the Keys and up to Naples and Fort Myers on the West Coast. And I would like to mention that we are very proud to celebrate our 35th anniversary this year. I would like to briefly introduce two of my colleagues here who join me today. Shelley Siegel, who is our legislative chairperson. Hi, Shelley. And Mr. Richard Prinsky from Ackerman, who is representing ASID in Tallahassee. So thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.
We're going to use the podium.
Hi, good morning. My name is Bonnie McLeod. I'm the current president for the Florida Engineering Society. Just a quick update on our legislative affairs. FES, which is the Florida Engineering Society, is supporting Senate Bill 692 that was referred to earlier, which will expand the required credit hours that will be necessary for each renewal period. I encourage all of our members to actually take a look at that bill. You can find it on the Florida Engineering website, which is fleng.org. It's not as onerous as it sounds. It's the continued 8 hours that we have, and then 12 additional hours will be required for meetings and whatnot. So I encourage everyone to take a look at that. FES and Price are also continuing to support any infrastructure funding that comes through. As was said earlier, we're expecting somewhere between 4 to 6 million new drivers on the roads in the next 20 years. That equates to something like 200 million additional miles driven per day on a road. So all of our infrastructure needs to be looked at. And we also encourage you to look at the ASCE infrastructure report, which Brent will be talking about a little bit. You can look at what the roads and what our other infrastructure looks like right now. We also oppose any efforts to CC&A reform, which is the Consultants Competitive Negotiation Act. We're not a commodity-based business. We should be looked at for qualification first, and then we should be looked at for price second. And then finally, any other information, or if you want any additional information on the what I just spoke about, you can look at the FLENG website, which is fleng.org. That's our professional society website in the state level. On the left-hand side, you'll click on Legislative Affairs, or you can talk to myself or Samantha Hobbs. She's our legislative person up in Tallahassee. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vicki Sutherland. I'm the current president of AIA Palm Beach. And I'd like to thank everyone, our legislators, for being here and listening to us this morning. AIA Florida members appreciate the legislators' continuing support in the recent years with the passage of legislation, which is vital to the health of the architectural profession. Last year, the culmination of nearly 4 years of work resulted in the passage and signing of SB 286 and HB 575, Florida Fairness and Liability legislation. This law provides necessary language allowing firms and owners to negotiate a limitation of personal liability and for professional employees. We thank you very much for that. In addition, we want to thank our legislators for the continued support of the CCNA. CCNA is the only objective and fair way to select design professionals, the health, safety, and welfare of Floridians, and the efficient use of limited resources and development of high-performing public buildings demand CCNA. Looking to the future, we'd like to ask our legislators to help defer capital outlay and budget surplus funds to public schools and infrastructure renovations. Public educational facilities in Florida are in need of funding and repair and maintenance, which has been deferred. Our children and our citizens deserve a safe and healthy environment in which they can learn and flourish. Upkeep of our public structures is imperative in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. We'd like to also note that it is very important to understand that when an architect starts a project, starting from the engineers, which are partners in the design of every project for us, jobs are created all the way down the line. From every trade to realtors, to the occupants, to the furniture, to the lighting, to every supplier that takes care of a building, and it creates lots of jobs. For every $150,000 spent on construction, a full-time job with benefits is created, and we feel it's very important. We'd also like to ask our legislators to consider aid to students, our future architects. Other professions, such as doctors, have an opportunity to work off their fees from school when they finish school and do some public service in that regard. For architects, such a thing does not exist, and we ask that you consider that in the future if the opportunity arises. We also ask to consider penalties for unlicensed practice, which are way too low in our opinion at this time. A slap on the wrist is not quite enough. Our members, our citizen architects, participate in a variety of civic duties throughout the state. Architects also provide expertise in a variety of topics, including healthy communities, sustainability, healthcare, education, design, and public infrastructure solutions. We ask you to consider us as a resource and invite us to your boards and to your panels. We're here for you, to work with you. And in closing, thank you very much for all of your support. We appreciate it and hope to see you next year. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Brent Whitfield, Secretary of the ASE Palm Beach branch. I'm going to keep it short, I know time's getting late here. ASE is proud to be a host organization. I think this is one of the better events we have here in the county, and I look forward to it in the years to come. Just want to give a short update on some of the things ASE is doing with respect to government involvement. We've got a government relations committee that's going to be doing a legislative fly-in. That's, I think, the second week of February, or first week of February. Basically an update on infrastructure, talk about some of the things that we're better known for at ASE with the infrastructure report card. The national report card was a D+ last year, and I talk about some of the infrastructure needs. So let all of you know to try to get involved with that if you can, and let some of you guys up here know that some of us may be lurking in the halls in the weeks to come. There's also a fly-in in March to DC to talk about some of those things. So anyway, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hello everyone, and my name is Aileen Velez Vega, and I'm representing today the Society of Women Engineers, specifically the Southeast Florida section, which includes from St. Lucie County all the way down to the Keys. I'm also past Street Governor, that includes the Region D of the United States, and that's Florida, the southeastern states, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. I'm going to share a little bit of what SWE has been doing in Capitol Hill and what the Government Relations and Public Policy Committee at SWE is doing as far as different bills in the Senate and the House. And last year in October, I was fortunate enough to go and advocate for SWE at Capitol Hill Day. And we met with staff of U.S. Senator Mark Rubio and Bill Nelson, as well as Commissioner Representative Pedro Pierluisi from Puerto Rico. SWE has a few bills that they're supporting, and I would love for you guys to look into it. These are the STEM Opportunities Act of 2013, the Project Ready STEM Act, as well as the Women and Minorities in STEM Booster Act, and the Education Tomorrow's Engineers Act. These bills are very important because most of them are targeted to young people, children, and I know that you all were very concerned about the children and how much we're doing for their safety. And these bills also focus on their education and also bringing those kids into STEM education and promoting them and keeping the diversity in the STEM education in the STEM fields. I was very surprised to see that Hispanic women are only at 2% of the workforce in engineering. I'm Hispanic, so that number to me was very low. And also, it's important that we do target these type of bills because they promote role models as far as for the children and also for industry professionals as well. We need more role models, and we also need to promote and retain those professionals in these engineering, science, and technology fields. Not just in gender and the women's area, but also in the minorities, because we know that diversity is what drives successful teams. And these are what these bills are promoting. SWE is an advocate of education and outreach for children and women in engineering. As I said, very important, SWE's mission is to advocate, promote, and advance women in engineering. So right now, these bills are still ongoing. There's a few more things that we're doing in Capitol Hill. We do have a Capitol Hill Day for SWE in March of this year. It's important for us in SWE to do the advocating, and we do have a full-time staff person in Capitol Hill working with us. So thank you today for meeting with us and for giving us the opportunity to show you what our concerns are, because it's very important. I think that for us, it's not just to show up, it's advocating for what we think is important. So thank you so much.
Good morning, Jeff Brophy. I am the state chapter president for Florida for the American Society of Landscape Architects, which is ironic because I'm not from Florida and I'm not American. But being from this country, I won't ask anything about amnesty, but this year I had the privilege to go to Washington, D.C. As well to lobby the senators and the representatives, and we met with Patrick Murphy and Senator Rubio and Nelson, and while it was great, the 5 minutes you get with the aides in between a Tea Party group and Planned Parenthood, this forum that you allow us to do here means so much more. It was an exciting experience, but I think there's something special about what we can do here and what we force you guys to go through every year up here. But on behalf of our profession, we appreciate you being here. And speaking of our senators, we are proud to induct Senator Bill Nelson this year as an honorary member of ASLA. Senator Nelson has been a model leader of environmental policies and practices that conserve historic, cultural, and natural resources. He has been an ambassador who has forged many bipartisan efforts to protect the integrity of our national park and wildlife refuge systems. His role as a leader and consensus builder was instrumental in returning the Everglades to the United Nations list of World Heritage Sites. So again, as a profession, we're very honored to have him as an honorary member of ASLA this year. In terms of forthcoming legislative actions, we continue to monitor any and all major water legislation to ensure there are no unintentional consequences that would affect the profession. We are also monitoring this year's legislation towards PPPs, which extends the provisions to state universities. And we are also contemplating a review of Chapter 41 to review the Practice Act to determine whether any updates or changes are necessary. If anything needs to be filed, it's not going to happen this year, but it will happen in the 2015 session. So with that, thank you again for being here, and thank you for supporting the profession.
My name is Cindy Drake. I'm the Secretary of the Code Enforcement Officers Association of Palm Beach County,
and former secretary of the Florida Association of Code Enforcement. The FACE organization is working on actually requesting minimum standards for code enforcement officers within the state of Florida. We've had an education program since the early 1990s, which we are simply asking the state of Florida to recognize. Senator Simpson has agreed to sponsor the bill on the Senate side, but we're still waiting for an answer from Representative Perry on the House side. He's put a bill in drafting, but is not yet committed to the filing of it. If it gets through, we're asking for your support. Thank you.
Can I ask just very quickly, and I actually have to use the restroom, so probably not smart to ask this question. Yeah, the code enforcement issue, basically you're looking for a codified standard for the enforcement officers throughout the state.
Correct. We currently have education with a test that is required to be passed to obtain certification. We're asking that that be recognized by the state.
Good morning. I'm Shelley Siegel, and I am the current president of the National Association of Women in Construction, the Palm Beach County chapter. And our members are contractors, engineers, design professionals, tradeswomen, consultants, suppliers, and that's just a few of who we are. We are the people that run the construction within the industry and are part of it. And even though we don't have a formal legislative policy at the time on a national level, our members are members of all of these other organizations. So I just want to say thank you, and we appreciate you listening to everybody. And when you do listen and when you work with everybody else in the room, you're working with the National Association of Women in Construction. So thank you.
Okay, the last thing we have on the agenda is closing remarks from our legislators. Unless there's a question that someone in the audience was just dying to ask because we didn't cover it yet. Okay, we'll take one last question.
Actually, it's more like a comment for your consideration. We are trying to encourage development and redevelopment in our infill areas and areas where we already have infrastructure. One of the biggest impediment is the schools are underperforming in those areas. So if you can consider something to maybe give more incentives and get better schools, that would be.
All right, I'll leave it to you all to decide the order in which you all would.
Since nobody's saying, and I've already said I have to use the restroom so bad right now. So it's really great to see everybody. I'm not going to listen to Kerner. I'll be in the restroom. I've been here, I think, 6 or 7 years, and I love the give and take. And I know some of you may not like me, some of you may like me, some of you have no opinion, and that's the same for everybody up here. There's a couple here. But for me, and I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody, it's, we don't have this opportunity in Tallahassee. The fly-ins are relatively, there's not many of them when it comes to advocacy. And so kind of bridging the gap between legislator and listening to you, this is an opportunity to do that. The subject areas are always great, and it really does actually help me, once I get up there in my little office away from people, understand what is important and to continue to connect. So thanks for the opportunity. I still hate 7 a.m., but I'm going to go use the restroom. Thank you very much.
And you know that we start at 7 a.m. because of the engineers.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Mark. I do want to say something about Representative Pafford as he's leaving. If you really, really got to know him, you would not like him. So. Now, this is, I think, in my 3rd year coming here, and I, again, as Representative Pafford said, love the give and take. These issues are pertinent, relevant. But the one takeaway I'll give you is if you do get a chance to interact with us, especially up in Tallahassee, because it is more of a bubble up there, so when you come up, we are able to give you a little bit more time up there. But if it has to be here, my district office, I walk from it, it's literally down the street. So we do have generally what I call constituent days where we'll schedule meetings here if you need to meet with us here. But personal letters are always the best. Personal emails, those types of things I think really are effective, at least with me. If you want to come meet with us, the group, if you keep it at 2 or 3 people and 3 or 4 points, those are generally, again, most effective with us. And believe it or not, we generally will listen to you. If there's an issue with deregulation or whatever it is, if you come to us, look us in the eye and say, this is going to kill us or it's really going to help us, that does mean something to us. And even though, as Representative Kerner said, we're one of 160 people up there, we are basically your advocates. If we're not chairs of committees or vice chairs, we'll go to those chairs and say, hey, this is something that is important to the constituents in my district. They might not listen to us, but at least you know you have a voice up there. And again, thank you very much for allowing us the chance to speak to you today.
Thank you. You know, we have a great advantage in Palm Beach County because of our delegation. I think you heard from a number of us today, but our delegation is far-reaching and broad. And up here today, I was thinking, Pat, you know, I used to serve as chair, Mark, and then you, right down in order. And the expertise of our delegation, both Democrat and Republican, you can almost find somebody with a niche in mostly anything that we take up in the state. And we are strong as a delegation. We may be one of 160, but we do work together as a delegation. Doesn't matter Democrat, Republican. I think there may be 2 or 3 Republicans in the delegation, and you know, we elected Pat as our chair. So we have a very good working relationship. It's not like what you see in Washington, D.C., where we banter back and forth and can't get anything done. We really try to put our heads together and work and bring home things from the county. So with that, I really appreciate you inviting me here today once again. I don't mind the 7 a.m., so it's okay. And thank you again.
Well, thank you, Senator Abruzzo. I've always noticed that Mark Pafford, towards the end of any event, says he has to go to the bathroom.
I just want to get hit with questions.
Right. Yeah, that's a big part of having questions on his record. No, we all get along really well. And I hope that you see through this dialogue that we deal with some really complex issues up in Tallahassee. We need all the help that we can get in terms of constituent input. And I'm sure it's more complex at the federal level. But what I hope you learn is that we deal with those issues in Tallahassee, and then we come back here for re-election and we deal with the Planned Parenthood and the NRA issue all day long. I mean, 95% of my emails are, why do you hate guns, and you know, where are you on abortion? There's got to be more to the political and democratic dialogue than that. And so this event is so refreshing for me because we talk about substantive issues. We talk about things that are important to you, they're complex, we learn, and I think that we as a society need to kind of move the needle closer to that direction instead of farther out on the fringes. So thank you for the political dialogue, thank you for the substantive dialogue. If you don't vote, please do. We need as many sane people voting as possible. All right, well, thank you for your time this morning. It's been great.
And once again, we want to thank all of you all for supporting the breakfast and attending. I think we'll send out a little survey after this one and see if we can get some feedback.
Yes, one if you like Representative Pafford, 2 if you don't.
He's waiting for you out in the lobby.
It was fake Dave here. And so's my bladder.
All right, and we're actually ending early, which I hope you all appreciate. See you.